When she told me we had never had a woman elected to represent any district in Statesboro, I was shocked. And when it came right down to the day of qualifying, it's like I'm looking around and there are no other women lined up wanting to do this. And so, if not me, then who? And if not now, then when? Females certainly were not encouraged. There were explicit and implicit barriers to women serving in public office or in roles of leadership everywhere. That famous glass ceiling is not totally been removed. The time was just right. That was actually my main motivation for deciding to run. I had several friends approach me asking me to consider, and I took it as a compliment, but I said, no, not for me, thanks. But then enough people kept asking, it just felt like the universe was prodding me. I'm 70 years old, I'm retired, I'm healthy and able and have the time and the energy, so it just felt like it was time for me to do it. And then we were all quite thrilled when it turned out that the citizens of Statesboro wanted all three of us, wanted to see change on the city council. So 3 women were elected. I mean, it's so how it should be. And I'm glad that so many folks, especially young folks like y'all, think it's shocking when women aren't there. Because throughout my lifetime, it's been shocking that women are there and show up. And, you know, it's a man with a strong voice who speaks his opinion is a leader, and a woman who does is being hard to get along with. Sadly, there's still that perception out there. And so it's up to us to work twice as hard and demonstrate that we need to be at the table too. Way back, 40 years ago, I worked at West Building Materials when there was a West Building Materials here in Statesboro, and I started that job as the merchandise manager, which other women had done. The store was new in Statesboro. But after a while there, I decided I wanted to move into commission sales, which was all men at the time. I was the first commission salesperson selling building materials at the store in Statesboro. And it was more opportunity to make money. You know, I could make more than my hourly rate. I had to think about kind of walking that bridge, that being careful, because you don't want to put people off. You want to please people. But, I mean, if you're a salesperson, you don't need to annoy people. But you also have to decide how far you're willing to go along with how it is, go along to get along. And so one example, I had a customer, an older white man, who would come in looking for me whenever he wanted to buy building materials. And I valued that because, like I say, I'm working on commission. So I want him to be looking for me. But he'd come in the store and he'd say, "Where's that little gal always helps me?" You know? And so what I came up with the second time he said that was, "Am I the small woman you're looking for?" Just rephrase it, you know, just find it. I don't need to wave my women's lib flag in his face and make him angry or make him upset, but just point out that, you know, that's not the terminology that I like. That's not respectful. I am a small woman. I'm not a little gal. I thought about when I was campaigning, because one of the other council members who got defeated was telling me, well, there's all kinds of diversity, like there's business owners and there's, you know, punch the clock people, and there's different kinds of diversity. And that's true, but nobody on the council had been a single parent trying to get the kids to school on time and then make it to work and worry about how you're gonna, on your own as a single parent and mother. They've not had those experiences. Nobody on the council had been a widow, learning how to move forward as a single older adult and how you're going to function in the world now that you're no longer half of this couple that you've been for 40 years. So yes, diverse experiences, diverse life history that helps us be open to the people we serve, more of the people that we serve. In the city of Statesboro, like most places in the South, we begin our meetings with an invocation. And here in the South, to most people, that's saying a prayer. And for the majority of people, that's a Christian prayer in the name of Jesus Christ. I'm not offended by that, but I realize there are people in the room who don't pray in the name of Jesus Christ. There are people in the room who don't pray. There are people who are humanist, who are Buddhist, who are Muslim. And we serve all the people. So we're moving towards having more inclusive prayer. And my first opportunity to give the invocation last week, I worked hard. I'm coming up with a prayer that didn't hopefully offend or bother the Christians in the room, that hopefully made other people of different religious backgrounds or of no religious background realize I was including them. I was trying to speak for all of us and be more inclusive. So that's one way. I am religious. I'm a Unitarian Universalist. But our first principle is to honor the inherent worth and dignity of every person, not just people who think or look like me. So that's a guiding principle for me. I think I have worked hard to try to be as open-minded and inclusive as I can see how to be. And we can't just go out and learn, read books and learn stuff or have people tell us stuff. We have to do our own work. We have to notice where we're falling short and continue to gently self-improve. Most of us we are our own harshest critic, and that's not helpful to anybody, to beat up on yourself. So finding that balance of continuing to try to be open to learning and get better, and be gentle with ourselves too. So hopefully I have accomplished some of that, and people who know me well could see that. And then what I spoke about earlier too, being a listener, being a collaborator, appreciating diversity and wanting everybody's voice at the table. I'm nonpartisan. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm progressive, and celebrate diversity at every opportunity. Realize that we're all enriched by that. I'm very concerned about us having environmentally sustainable practices in the city of Statesboro, and we've made some progress in that direction. And I see it as part of my mandate to continue that, to look for opportunities to preserve this beautiful place we live and to maintain the quality of life, not to squander our resources. I mean, growth is good, but managed growth so that we're not wasting what we have here, taking care of it for the enjoyment of all the citizens. I did not know I had met Paulette Chavers before we both qualified. I did not know Venus Mack at all. We're getting to know each other, and I'm enjoying getting to know both of them very much. We all share the motivation of wanting to serve the people, recognizing that that's what public service is about, that you're the spokesperson who's trying to look out for the interest of everybody in Statesboro, not necessarily just the district that elected you. So we share that, a concern for quality of life issues for the people who live in Statesboro. What I feel like does help me to serve is my years. As I said, I'm 70 years old, so I've had a lot of life experiences, and I've spent more than 50 of those years right here in the city of Statesboro. So I've got some kind of deep history. I've got some broad connections. I know a lot of people, and I care about a lot in Statesboro. I had a web page, and on the web page I talked about one of the things that I think really equips me to better serve Statesboro, or to serve Statesboro, is the fact that I'm a listener and a collaborator. There's so many things that we expect our elected officials to vote about. Nobody can be broad enough to know enough to have informed decisions on all of them. But I don't mind recognizing I don't know enough about stormwater treatment to vote on whether we need to do that soon. And I'm happy to go and talk to other people who know more than I do. So being able to identify folks who have the expertise in areas I don't, and seek outside opinions. So being a listener and a collaborator, and recognizing that I really do need to hear from diverse voices, not just talk to the people who might think the same way I do or might tell me what they think I want to hear. That you really need to hear from everybody to get everybody invested in the process and for the best outcome for all of us. It really was a combination of circumstances that it just seemed to fall in place. As I said, on the day of qualifying, there was nobody else. There were people more qualified, I'm sure, in Statesboro, Georgia, but I didn't see them standing up willing to serve. I'm not sure how to motivate people to work together for what's good unless they can see that their own interests are injured in it. So maybe just continuing to share good news messages about it takes all of us together to do this. And I think folks at City Hall are aware of that. The folks who are elected now really do try to be responsive, not just to get reelected, but all of us recognize, and we're all people-centered and want what's best for Statesboro.